Hello, everybody in Facebook land. It's Arianna Jeret here on YourTango with Facebook Live time. I hope you can hear me, and I was just walking across my place because I wasn't ready when I should be. And that's why I'm wearing a sweater, even though it is actually like 5,000 degrees out in LA. Hi, chat. It's good to see you. Okay, so I can see people are here now, so that's great. So I have some questions for you guys this time to start off with, and I also have a question from somebody who was here last week. Oh, you can hear me, Jennifer? Thank you so much. Hi, Elizabeth. So my first question, hi, Jacqueline, is for you guys to say hi and what your names are and where you guys are tuning in from. So I can see, I know we have people all over the world who come here every week or a few times a week. Hi, Nikki and Tabitha. I see Andrea Miller is here. Hi, Andrea. At least I match Andrea's book, Radical Acceptance, for YourTango. You guys can all go over to the Radical Acceptance page after this is over and check it out. Hi, Cherise and Star and Diane and Adriana. Okay, so Ashley's in Arkansas, so I'm in Los Angeles. Chad, you're in Kansas. So this is great, and Tad's in Pittsburgh. And I know you guys say hi to each other, and you know, every once in a while people DM each other. Jacqueline's from Pennsylvania. Jennifer's from Illinois. We have South Carolina from Michelle. Kathy in New York. So you guys can say hi and know where you guys all are located. Jessica's in York, Pennsylvania. Sean's from Earth. That's awesome. I guarantee you there are probably a few people here who are not from Earth. It's possible. You never know. I mean, you can't prove to me that it's not possible. I'll say that. Hi, Andrea. Again, now I see your comments. So I always see the comments a little bit late. So that's one thing I like to remind everybody at the beginning. It's just a real quick, I'm Arianna Jeret, and I'm a senior editor here at YourTango. I'm also a master's in social work, but nothing we're doing tonight is therapeutic or therapeutic advice. And if we talk about divorce, because I was a divorce mediator, nothing here is going to be considered legal advice. We're just shooting the breeze and talking about stuff. I see Christy in Ohio, Shane in Minneapolis. Oh, Andrea, you're in the Upper West Side? I always thought you were Upper East Side for some reason. Goes to show me. I used to live on the Upper West Side. I loved it. I did love it there. I miss New York. It's been a long time. Okay, Jamie, you're in San Diego. You're pretty close to me. Samar is in Egypt. Oh, Chad has good news. So I want to hear Chad's good news. Also, I'm hoping that Kat is back from last week because she broke up with her guy, like we talked about, and she came back and put something in the comments. Oh, Josh was a social worker here too, so that's awesome. So Josh, you can, one of the things that I love that's been going on here is that I see people, because I can't keep up with every single question that you guys ask because of the way that just the format is structured with how I see your comments. And I see you guys supporting each other and answering each other's questions and, you know, inviting people to, I think you're fancy enough, Andrea, and inviting people to, you know, DM each other. And I love that. I really, really love that, how supportive you guys all are. So I love that you can all see where each other are. And then I'm going to ask you guys one question that's kind of a favor to me before I dig into your questions. Oh, Chad, you might be moving to Texas with your mom in a month or two. That's awesome. I mean, I have not been to Kansas or Texas, but I would probably, not to offend anybody from Texas, I mean from Kansas, I'm guessing I would probably want to move to Texas if I was in Kansas, but I'm very LA centric and I admit it. So sorry. But that's great. I'm glad you're excited. You'll have to let us know if it's going to happen or not. I need to name this show because I love Becca so much, and she's here twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:15 Pacific and 10:15 Eastern. And Andrea's here on Monday nights at the same time, and Joanna's here on Wednesdays. And I just feel like I need a name for my show. So if you guys can think of anything to call this, you know, Becca's is Becca After Dark, and she's a little, you know, she gets into some of the, it's just the nature of the questions. She gets like the really kinky sex questions that I don't seem to be getting, which is fine. Whatever you guys want to ask works for me. I'm trying to find something to put my phone to hold up. So I need help, and you can either message me later or put something in the comments, but I'd love to have your input on that. I see somebody from Montana, Janae, said, I came in on the middle. We're not even at the middle yet, Janae. We are just starting. And what you are watching is me, Arianna, answering people's questions, any questions you guys have about love or sex or relationships. And why you are watching it is because you must be a fan of the YourTango page. I don't mean a fan like, oh, like you're a fangirl, but like you must like the YourTango page, so thank you. And then it came into your newsfeed. That's how it happens. So hopefully you'll stick around and stay with us because we have fun. Let's see. So I'm going to look and see. Okay, so first of all, Beth was here last week and she tried to ask a question a bunch of times and I just never saw it in the comments. So I told her I would answer it first and I hope she's here. But her question was, she said, she asked if it was normal to only be able to have orgasms for a woman from clitoral stimulation, because that's the only way that she's been able. Oh, Beth, I see I'm here, so great. So your question was, if I just looked at it before I came back on, you asked if it was normal for a woman to only be able to have an orgasm through clitoral stimulation. So since you are here, I'm gonna scroll down because what I wanted to ask you is, well, and you don't have to answer it because you know it's really personal. First of all, yes, totally normal, really, 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 really common. I think the vast majority, see, Becca Lee Martin said it happens to her too. I think the vast majority of women have that experience, that it is easier, first of all, for them to have an orgasm that way, and also that it's far more common. And there are a lot of women who don't ever have an orgasm from any other type of stimulation. Now, that doesn't mean just because you never have that you never will or you never can. And I think that the best, really, I don't want to say the only way to do it, but the best thing to do is just spend some time by yourself masturbating with different types of toys, you know, try with different types, you know, different shapes of dildos, or, you know, especially they have those kind that are curved, and they specifically say that they're a Gspot stimulator, so you can try one of those and they, you know, typically hit you in the right spot. There's a lot of debate out there about whether or not the Gspot actually exists, but from what I've read, like from different sources, it really does seem like it does exist. One of our experts, Lisa Lawless, wrote an article on YourTango that explained it so well, which is that the reason there are some gynecologists who think that women don't have a G-spot is because when you're feeling for your G-spot, if you're not sexually excited, if you're not aroused, it doesn't swell, and so it may not be prominent for them to feel it. And like, I don't know about any of you guys, but like a pap smear or any kind of a, shaking my bracelet, sorry, any kind of a gynecological exam is like the least arousing time in your life, right? So you're not necessarily, your G-spot's not necessarily gonna be prominent enough for an OBGYN to feel it during an exam, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So you all do have it, and Beth, but so the thing is, yes, you probably can have orgasms other ways if you spend some time where you're just like relaxing and just breathing and like on your own and not worried about it happening, and just kind of let yourself almost get into like a meditation kind of a mode, and so you're not thinking about it too much, and see if you can make it happen for yourself. But at the same time, if it doesn't ever happen in any other way, but you're having orgasms from clitoral stimulation, you're having orgasms, right? So it's not like it's the end of the world if you can't achieve all like 57 different kinds of, female orgasms that this week that they're saying that you can have. Like, as long as you're satisfied in your sex life with yourself and your partner, if you have a partner, that's really all that matters. So yes, you're normal and you can probably do other stuff, but also hopefully you won't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to scroll back now and see if there were other questions that came up. Oh, I think Trey's here, so that's fun. Okay, let's see. Laura said, I've been divorced since April 4th, and for some reason, I can't get over him, and he's got a new girl. Well, Laura, I mean, in a way, as much as it sucks, I'm kind of glad for you that he has a new girl, because it's going to leave less chance for you to spend any time wondering if it could still work out. I really feel like once you've gotten to the point where you've gone through a divorce, which, I mean, they can be done easily, but not necessarily, and not usually. And I don't know, I missed where you are located, Laura, so I don't know what state you're in or how long it took for your divorce process, because different states, you have to wait a certain amount of time. But you've been through this whole divorce, and it's it's the norm not to be able to start healing from your marriage, from whatever went wrong, and from the divorce process until the divorce is final and your papers are stamped and delivered back from the court. That is when the healing actually begins. So we do ourselves a disservice when we expect to start healing just because we've made the decision to get a divorce. So I think it's totally a natural thing for you to still be struggling with that. And he's moved on, and for whatever reasons it didn't work out. And so now is your time to be able to sit with it and start to get over it. And it'll happen. You just need to let it take your time. But hopefully at least it just helps to know that it's not like, April 4th, it's only been a few months. So I would be surprised if you were already over everything at this point. So just, I would give yourself just that grace that there's plenty of time. Cynthia said, when an old flame says, do you know how hard it is to look at you? Meaning, well, I don't know, Cynthia, did he say that to you in a text message, or did he say that to you in person? Because I could say this to my ex. I could say any ex, no real ex. Don't worry, I'm not talking about you, real exes. I could say, do you know how hard it is to look at you? Because you're pissed off because he did something that was so awful and he's so mad at you, and so he means it like that. Or it could be, do you know how hard it is to look at you? Because I'm still so in love with you, and when I see your face, I just want to be with you again. And all I can think about is how much I want to be with you. So if it's over text, that's where one of the, I love text messaging. I'm a huge fan of text messaging. I talk about it all the time, but that's one of those tricky parts of it, is that I don't know. So you probably know the larger context of your own relationship, obviously, and whatever you guys were talking about, but it could really be either thing. So if there was something you did that made him mad and he's mad at you, it could be that. Or it could mean that he still has feelings for you, and so it hurts too much. Elizabeth said, I have a question. My true love passed away last Wednesday. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth, I'm so sorry. That's awful. He was 50, so young, but we were not married. Would it be wrong, is that eventually to go on with someone else? You mean like ever? I mean, even if you were married, it wouldn't be wrong once he's passed away for you to be with somebody else at some point. You should be. And, assuming he was 50, I'm guessing you're somewhere within the 10-year age range, above or below that, right? So you have a lot of life left in you. And, I'm sure that you've got to have so many feelings going on right now. And I don't know if he was sick for a long time or if it was suddenly. But right now, your grieving process is going to be yours. So however long it takes you, if it helps you to go out and be on dates because it makes you feel a little bit lighter and more carefree, then do that when you're ready. I don't think that there's any right or wrong. And for sure, you should be able to move on at some point and be with other people. Absolutely. And, if he was your true love, and if you were his true love, then I cannot imagine he would want anything other than for you to spend the rest of your life being happy and not mourning for him for the next 40 or 50 years or however, let's see. I'm going to move on. Yeah, I mean, same thing. Lisa asked the same thing. Lisa Greider said, my divorce, is it okay to move on? That's the point of getting a divorce, right? That's the whole point of getting a divorce, is this is not working. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just, it's just, we get so caught up in what's right and what's wrong. And I think that a lot of that really means is what's socially acceptable, or what have I been taught is like moral, what makes me a good person or a bad person. And look, are there going to be plenty of people out there who think that just for the sake of even getting a divorce that you're evil and going to hell and whatever else they think? Sure. I'm sure that there are plenty of people across the earth, where I think it was Sean is from, that, that think it's an awful, awful thing to get a divorce at all, let alone go, marry somebody afterward or date somebody afterwards, right? I was just talking about this last week. I think that as soon as you're separated, you are free to be on your way and seeing other people. There is no reason that you shouldn't be moving forward. That is exactly what you are supposed to do. Let's see. Oh, there it says Trey is there. Hi, Trey. And let's see. Thomas Frank, do people actually pay you to listen to your nauseating voice? Yeah. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to keep moving on. Let's see if I can find another question. Oh, Ashley says, I want a divorce, but my husband will not sign. Help. Well, I'm guessing, okay, so Ashley, I don't know if you mean he won't sign your final papers because you haven't reached an agreement yet, or if you mean he won't, like, agree to get divorced in the first place. But divorce is not a mutual decision necessarily. Only one person has to decide that they want to file for a divorce, and then you are getting divorced whether or not he agrees. So if you're at the point where you've been, you filed your papers and you've been through the process and you have some kind of a judgment, or you've been working on proposals and he won't sign, that's really hard for me to answer in a format like this, because I don't know enough about what your particular situation is or which issue you guys are stuck on. But what I will say is that typically in any divorce, when there's an issue that somebody is stuck on, it's really, what is that issue about? Like, what does that issue represent to them? And so is there a way that person can feel whole about what it is that they want to get? If it's just that he's like an abusive dude and he won't get a divorce as a way of trying to control you, then that's something where you're just going to have to go into court and have the judge make an order. Because ultimately, it's nice if you guys can agree out of court and come to a settlement agreement in some kind of a mediated setting. But if not, the judge is going to make an order and he won't have a choice but to sign it. So I think that that's something where nobody gets educated, not to your fault, not to any of our faults, but there's no system in place for people to become educated before they get married about what a marriage contract actually looks like. And your marriage contract is not whatever you think it's not your license. It's the California Family Law Code, which is like voluminous. And none of us read that unless you're in law school before getting married. And so it's very easy, therefore, for certain people to manipulate during the divorce process, manipulate you into thinking that you are not empowered to do whatever you want to do, but you are. So I would say go consult with an attorney where you are, but he cannot keep you from getting divorced. You know, if you have to go to court, you'll go to court. Let's see. Jessica said, I haven't been with anyone in 2 years. I'm kind of scared to jump into the dating game. Yeah, it's a, you know, it's a scary game, right? Like, I mean, it's scary to potentially get hurt. It's scary to potentially, you know, fall in love with somebody. It's potentially like, it's scary that you may never fall in love with somebody, right? So I just think the only thing you can do is acknowledge that fear and then do it anyway. Because if you don't do it, like, what's your alternative, right? Like, your alternative is just not to be dating and to be alone. If you're happy with that, if that makes you feel happy and whole, and then don't date, you know. But it sounds like you want to, or you probably wouldn't be here asking how to not be scared of it. So I just think the only way to do it is do it. And there are just so many apps that make it so easy to just, you know, just like right now, don't click off of my show, but maybe if you're on your computer or, you know, after the show, make a note for yourself. Just download Tinder or download Bumble or download anything and just start swiping. It's so easy now. All you have to do is connect your Facebook account. I know you have one because you're here, and just see what it's like. You know, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun if you just let it be fun. Let's see. Oh, Beth, you said I've asked one for 3 weeks, but I answered it, so I'm hoping that I saw this before I answered it. Let's see. What is love? That's Sudarshan said, what is love when you have no crush on her? I'm not sure I know enough what you mean. I don't think I can define. I mean, I would love to be able to define love for every one of us out there, right? But I think that that's just the feeling that you have, and that's so, you know, separate to every individual. So I'm not really sure what you mean by the other part of the question, so I'm going to have to keep going. Let's see. Oh, Crystal just moved to Texas too. Let's see. Didi said, I'm in an awful relationship with a narcissist. It's really hard, I know. As anyone knows, it's impossible to have a good relationship with a narcissist. Correct. How can one get over one, though? Well, I think the way you get over it is by acknowledging that they're a narcissist, right? Which you've already done. And the first step is you're saying you're in an awful relationship, so you're still in a relationship, right? Why is everybody so angry right now? I see all these angry faces. Oh, maybe you're angry because of the narcissist. I'd be angry at the narcissist too. I have been angry at narcissists. Okay, let's see. So Didi, what I would say is, first of all, you have to get out of the relationship, right? You can't get over him or her until the relationship is no longer happening. So, oh, thank you for all the hearts now. So you can't get over the relationship until it's not happening. So the first step is move on. The next thing is when you're dealing with somebody if he's a true narcissist, that word narcissist is thrown around so easily these days, and we all kind of use it when it's really a very, very, very specific name of a very specific diagnosis. So I'm just going to go with the assumption that you're talking about somebody who actually does rise to the level of pathology, and that this is somebody who could be clinically diagnosed as narcissist, and I'm going to answer it that way. The best way to deal with anybody who has any kind of a personality disorder is by setting very firm boundaries. Because if you don't, they will continue to try to pull you back in because they need somebody else from the outside to be filling in the narcissistic wound in their self, the holes in their own feelings and their inability to self-reflect and look at the pain that they're causing. Well, not that they're causing themselves, but whatever it was that caused their pain earlier in their life. And unfortunately, we know so little about the genetics of it and the direct causes and really effective treatment and all of that, right? So all you can do is acknowledge that that's who they are and then draw lines in the sand. So if it's possible for you to have no contact with this person, if you guys don't, I mean, you didn't say you're married or you have kids, so I'm going to kind of assume you don't. If you don't have kids and you don't work together or have any other reason to be around each other, I would say it's just got to be a break, like a clean break, no contact kind of a situation. As much as, I mean, I have a horrible time trying to do that whenever I've ended a relationship, either if I've done it or they've done it. Usually they do it, but whatever. Not always. But it's really hard for me, so I understand if it's hard. But with a narcissist, you cannot give those little opportunities. So once you draw those lines and those boundaries for yourself, then you can deal with, okay, recognizing whatever it was that he did that was awful to you, whatever it was that he said to you was not about you, it was about him. And I like having a little mantra that you kind of just keep on hand in your head that, okay, that wasn't about me, that was his stuff, that was him being a narcissist. So that, you know, you're walking down the street one day and somebody says something to you, you know, somebody tells you you have a disgusting voice that they don't know why anybody would pay you to talk, right? And you stop and you go like, oh my God, like he used to say that. Maybe I really do. Oh my God. And you start to internalize in yourself, because that's what somebody who's been in a codependent relationship tends to do with it, to stop yourself in those moments and be like, okay, wait, no, that was about him, and that was about whoever it was who just made that rude comment to somebody that they don't know, right? So it has nothing to do with you. So, okay, now I can be good again. And that's your way to keep moving through, because you probably will have those moments. You know, if he's a true narcissist, he's probably been doing things where he's been making you feel bad about yourself. And so the healing, I think, really has to do with not feeling like maybe he was right and therefore you were wrong for leaving. Carrie Bell said, I kissed a girl for the first time. Awesome. Was it good? Was it almost, at first I thought maybe it was, if it was fun or you had a question or you wanted to share more, then awesome. But I don't know if you're asking anything else. Let's see. I'm looking to see another question. Amir said, what do loyal women like these days from a loyal man like myself? What do they like in terms of what? I'm not sure. I think they like lots of different stuff, right? Like some women like creative guys, and some women like conservative guys, and some women like stable guys, and some women like, you know, bad boys. Like, I mean, I don't know. But if you're a loyal guy and you're an honest guy, then I would say it doesn't really matter what women want. It matters who you are, and then finding a woman who matches with who you are and who's looking to be with somebody like you. I think that's a lot more important than trying to figure out what like the general population of loyal women in the world want. Let's just focus on what you want. Jocelyn said, I have been an abductee since 5, and they have introduced a female personality along with my male counterpart. And Jocelyn, I'm going to say that that is above my pay grade for this show, and I hope you're okay. I really do. And if you need help, send us a message, but I'm not really sure what I can say to you about that one. Okay, let's see. Lauren said, I haven't had a relationship longer than 6 months in my adult life. I'm 52. I was proposed to 3 times, but my gut instinct said no. My brother says I'm just too picky. By the way, I'm 52 years old. Well, here's my answer to that, Lauren, is that I think better to have been in a bunch of, whoops. Did you like, that was just my books. I'm trying to hold this thing up because I can't get it to stand. Better to have been in a whole bunch of 6-month relationships than to have married somebody wrong for you. That may not be the way that we're raised you know, today we're supposed to get married and have kids and have a family, but divorce is not fun or pretty or anything that anybody would ever want to go through. And honestly, I would far prefer to see people not get married than marry the wrong person. That's my opinion. So it hasn't happened for you yet. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Are you a happy person? Are you cool with your day-to-day life? Are there, you know, do you regret saying no to any of those guys for any reason other than the fact that people make you feel bad, like your brother makes you feel bad? It's not his life, it's your life. So you know, don't say yes to a proposal, anybody on here at all, if just because your, you know, family thinks that you should. So I think that you're doing great from what I hear. Let's see. Jessica said, have to ask, can't find anything to help. I'm 30 in menopause, so I have problems getting dry quick, tried everything. I mean, I don't know what would help if you've already tried everything, and if you've been, I'm going to assume that you've gone to your doctor and talked through with them. I mean, I honestly I haven't known anybody who was going through that is really young for menopause. And I'm sure it's nice not to have your period, but at the same time, I'm sure it's also frustrating. And I know that there are like topical, you know, estrogen creams that you can use from time to time if, you know, things are getting dry, and they kind of have it's longer lasting effect than like just using lube when you have sex. It's, you know, more of like it'll kind of kick you back to normal for a little while. You're saying you tried everything, so I don't know if you tried that. I don't know if there are certain dietary changes. You maybe try meeting with a nutritionist, or I have a lot of friends who talked about going to see different holistic specialists. I live in an area where there happen to be a lot of like herbal, like Chinese herbal stores, and I know people who've had a lot of success going to see herbalists to get help with all kinds of different hormonal issues. So if you haven't tried that, I would try that. And otherwise, I guess, you know, it's just, there's no reason to be ashamed at any age of needing to grab some lube before you have sex. If that's really if the main issue is really just what do you do when you have sex, just keep adding the lube. And I would say there's one brand, I know I'm not paid for endorsements of anything, called Good Clean Love, that it's named perfectly. It's like, it's seriously, there's nothing sticky about it. There's nothing lasting about it. It's amazing. So if you haven't tried Good Clean Love, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it all over the place. I would try that. Alicia or Alicia, I don't know. Probably Alicia, said, how do you find a man who's willing to wait to be intimate with you until you're ready? I'm spiritual, but not religious. Well, I think that's like, finding a man who's willing to be respectful and patient with anything. You know, you just be upfront about, whatever it is that makes you feel ready. I'm not sure if you just mean like per relationship. I mean, I know there are plenty of people who have that policy that until they're in a relationship, for whatever reason, because they think that it's better for the relationships, or because it's a religious or a spiritual reason, or whatever it is, that's just their boundary that they stand by. And there are going to be men who aren't cool with it, and there will be men who will. And I think the important thing is just being transparent about it and letting them know, you don't have to throw it out like in the first sentence. Like, by the way, I'm not going to be down for a while. Like, you don't have to just like throw it out there right away, but I would definitely talk about it sooner than later, because it could get frustrating if you guys don't have the conversation and it just comes up when you're making out or something like that, and that's how it ends up coming out. So I think that that's the main thing, is just to, watch how you're discussing it and when. Let's see. something. Oh, somebody said it's freezing. Hopefully it's not freezing anymore. It was freezing while I was trying to scroll up just there. Keith said, I always say that, but never listens to it. But after anything happens, I always end up saying, I knew it, I knew it. I don't know which thing that was about. See, this is one of these things I really wish, like, you guys have all these conversations going, and I'm not sure what they are. Okay. Amanda said, my boyfriend says I give the best head he has ever got. We've been together for 1.5, and I can't ride him or try anything different with him because he says it's from his relationship prior of 13 years, and she only did very little. How do I get him excited to do more? He's never had a squirter and I squirt. I'm trying to figure out, okay, so first of all, so he won't let you even try like different positions, Amanda, like just because he's not used to trying different positions? I don't, like that's, it's not like that's her fault. Like if he didn't try other positions in another relationship, it doesn't mean that he can't try them now. So, I mean, my question would be, is that how he is with everything in your, like in your life, in your discussions, in your conversations? Like, is he just not willing to explore different restaurants than he went to with her? Like, will he not see a movie he didn't see with her? Will he not go for a drive somewhere to someplace he hasn't been with her? Like, that reasoning that it wasn't what he had in his last relationship, that doesn't hold water in my book. You know, that just sounds like somebody who likes what he likes the way that he likes it and doesn't want to try other stuff. And so if that's how he's going to be, you know, there is not some like magic trick that will get every man or every woman to be experimental in the bedroom. Some people are just really not ever going to be down for it. And I'm not saying that that's for sure your situation, but if he's not even willing to try a different position, like, does he want to see you squirt? Like, is he excited about that? Well, then tell him, well, this is what happens that makes me squirt. And if that is what you would like to encounter, then this is how we need to go about it, right? I mean, and you can say that in like a fun, sexy way, but he can't expect to just, you know, have it both ways in that way. So, you know, my suggestion is, first of all, think about, is this how he is across the board? And is this problematic enough that it's something you guys need to have a talk about in terms of like overall flexibility? And if not, if the motivation for him is, you know, seeing a squirter or being with a squirter, then he needs to oblige with the techniques that get you there. Let's see. I'm going to see if there are more questions. Let's see. I see Maria's in North Carolina and you have to wait a year for the courts to allow you to divorce. Yeah, in California it's 6 months. Becca said, so I just broke up with my baby's father and he won't let me go. I've rekindled just a friendship with an ex and I'm not sure how to tell my baby's father. It hasn't been long since we broke up and nothing sexual has happened with my ex, but I'm having trouble finding the words to tell him. When you say he won't let you go, I'm guessing that that means, I mean, all that can really mean is that he still has feelings for you and he still wants you. But just like I was talking about with the divorce, he can't not let you go. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys broke up, you broke up. And just because you have a baby together, he does not retain any type of, you know, ownership rights to you. He didn't have ownership rights to you. And he doesn't, unless you had that kind of relationship, which is fine. I don't judge. It's kind of fun. So, but, you know, but he doesn't. You broke up. So there is no ownership right. And if he's not over it, that's not your problem. You know, like that sounds mean maybe, but it's not. You know, I mean, you can be empathetic about it. You can feel feel for him and you should be kind to him, and you guys are going to, you're raising a child together and you're going to co-parent together, but it's not your problem that he's not over you. Now, it also doesn't mean that you need to tell him about your ex. I mean, it just says all you said was that you rekindled a friendship with him. So does that mean that are you really just friends? Are you dating? I mean, you said nothing sexual has happened. Have you kissed? Is that nothing sexual? I don't think he needs to know anything. You don't owe him knowledge of anything about your life that doesn't directly impact your child. So if you're not in a relationship with your ex again, that is one that, your child is around, right? If you're not seeing him on a regular basis, if you're not dating him, if you're not boyfriend, girlfriend, if you're not together in that way, then you don't have to tell him yet unless you want to. And if you want to, then he needs to be a man, a grown up, and handle it. And if he doesn't, that's his problem. But if you guys are just buds and like just talking, then it doesn't have to be such a big dramatic deal. I know why it feels that way. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you for it feeling that way. I'm just saying, like, step back for a moment and remember, it's other than having a child together, it is like any other breakup you've had in your life. You are now broken up. Not his business, not your problem. Okay, Regina said, I've just discovered my ex is a genuine narcissist. We're in the separation process. How do I disconnect from him? So Regina, that's going to depend a lot, same as I was talking about before. It depends a lot on whether or not you guys have kids. If you have kids, that's going to be complicated because you can't ever disconnect. If you don't have kids, which most people who have kids throw that out there right away as part of what they're saying, just disconnect to him by disconnecting. I mean, if you're in the separation process, hopefully you have engaged a mediator or attorneys, and just let it go that way. But, same thing. He is not your problem, and you do not owe him anything. And that is one thing a lot of people who are in a relationship with somebody who is controlling, who is a narcissist, who has any degree of that kind of a personality, we tend to get kind of brainwashed to think that we are obligated to still give them something of us. And you're not. You're not. You don't owe him anything, whether you were married, whether you were dating, whether you had, you don't have kids together. If you don't have kids together, your only obligations are those that are legal, and you'll walk through that process with your attorney. So other than whatever conversations are, smart for you to have and strategic for you to have and legally necessary for you to have, just start. It's the lines in the sand. They just have to start being set right away. Chantal said, hi there, is my partner being unfaithful to me? I don't know. Because I don't know anything about the situation. But if you want to tell me, some more, tell me why you're suspicious, then I'm happy to help you try to figure it out. Oh, I see Taylor James, and which I always want to say James Taylor. You know that, Taylor. It doesn't mean I don't love you as Taylor James. I just always think of James Taylor, which is a nice thing, because I think that James Taylor is a wonderful singer. So you make me feel happy whenever I see you here. And you're in Rhode Island, so great. Let's see. I just got this weird pop-up. Okay. Isaac says, oh, he's just saying hi to people. Chad said, divorce isn't easy to get over, but what helps through is chatting with a close friend about it, but that's my opinion. Yeah, sure. I mean, friends always help. I think it helps that you guys come on here and, just talking about it, any form of talking about it. There are all kinds of, Facebook groups that you can look for, do a search for like divorce groups or things like that. Any friends that you have. Yeah, I mean, you'll start to, it's sort of like, it's like for women when you want to be pregnant, you start to see pregnant women everywhere. And when you want to be married, you start to see people getting engaged everywhere. So now you're divorced, so start looking like, I want to see other divorced moms or divorced women. You'll start seeing them. Let's see. I'm also going to do a quick check on the time. Oh my gosh, it's already 8:05. I cannot believe how fast this goes every single time because you guys keep me on my toes with the comments. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, so Mary said, if there's a guy you really want a relationship with, but he's diagnosed with cancer, would you still want to have a relationship with him? I'm undecided what to do. Wow, Mary, that's a tough one. So I'm going to have to guess that we're not talking about some kind of super curable cancer. I'm guessing this is something that's probably a pretty serious case, or you wouldn't be struggling with it as much. I mean, that's really hard because I understand that it could be, it could feel really tragic to fall in love with somebody and know that you're going to lose them. At the same time, I guess my gut impulse would be, and I'm not telling you what to do, but my gut impulse would be, I would still want to have that time with them because I just don't know that we all find that many. I mean, if this is truly like, because you said you want a relationship, if a guy you really want a relationship with, is that because you think he's, the kind of guy you should have a relationship with? Like he seems like the kind of guy, except for the fact that he has cancer? Or is it that like you are in love with this person and you want to be with them? If you are in love with this person and you want to be with him, then, be with him. And we never know, right? Like how people's prognoses really play out. Every doctor is doing their best guess and you really have no idea. And I mean, look, there was somebody else here who just lost her partner a few days ago and thought he was perfectly healthy. Well, I don't know. I'm adding that extra detail because she didn't say that part. But that does happen all the time, that people just pass away unexpectedly. So we always have a chance of losing the person we love. That's why it's so scary to fall in love, right? So if it was me and it was like this incredible connection, I would still want to see that out to whatever its natural, course is. But also, I don't think you're a bad person if you decide you don't want to be in a relationship with him because he's probably, does have a poor prognosis and won't be around. There's nothing wrong with making that decision. I don't think we can judge anybody else for what they choose to do like that. It's, you do have to look out for yourself and protect yourself. And so if you decide that you don't want to go for it, that's okay too, so give yourself that at the same time. Let's see if there are any more. Oh, so Maria said, good sensual moves to do. This is an interesting question, Maria. Good sensual moves to do in bed or out of bed to get closer to someone with PTSD. Wow, that is really a fascinating question. First of all, it depends on what the PTSD is from. If it has to do with sexual trauma of any kind, that's going to be very different than anything else. And it also depends on the extent of, everybody's case is different, right? But I really think that one of the things that's most important if you're seeing somebody or in a relationship with somebody who has PTSD is just to be, understanding and aware of the fact that sometimes they are triggered or have trouble, they might act out in ways where they're upset with you for something that has nothing to do with you. And there might be things where they, get spooked emotionally or physically by something that reminds them of whatever it was that had happened, whatever their trauma is from. I also think it's important, though, when you're in a relationship with somebody with PTSD, like they have to be working on that. They have to be working on being aware of that. They don't get to use it as an excuse to treat you badly or treat you wrong or abusively. It's like, so they need to also acknowledge like when it wasn't you, it was something else, and let you know what it is. And so I don't think that there's any like position. I mean, we have all kinds of articles about how to do different positions in a more intimate way, and you can certainly look at that. And I mean, honestly, I'm going to look this up afterwards. So thank you. I'm going to look up whether or not anybody has looked into whether or not like tantric sex practices have been helpful for couples where one partner or even both partners have some form of PTSD, because some of the different kinds of treatment that are really helpful for PTSD, like EMDR and somatic therapy, have a lot to do with being like grounded and centered and your breathing. So, you know, it could be that tantric breathing during sex could be really calming and healing, and that could potentially be a great option. So I would definitely look up some articles about tantric sex, and I'm going to be researching that and see if there's anything on that, because I think that's a really great question that you asked. And I think that could be really helpful to a lot of couples out there if anybody has looked into whether or not that works. So I would look into that, give that a shot, and I'm going to look into that too. So yeah, be checking it out. You know what? I'm going to take your name down, and if I find something and do write about it, I'm going to tag you. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take one more question before I go. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there is an actual question. Oh, Renee said that's what he's doing. Okay. Okay, so that was about that question. Patricia said, is being single till 30 considered too late? No, I don't think being single forever is too late. I don't think there's too early or there's too early as like, 16, 17, right? But I mean, my mom got married at 19, and my parents are still, poo is like they're madly in love, and they'll be married for 50 years in just a few weeks. And they're like huggy and kissy and on each other all the time and have an amazing relationship. They've had their hard times, but they're awesome. Other people never get married and they're perfectly happy. Like, it's just same thing. I would rather see everybody stay unmarried until they're 70 than be entering bad marriages because it's, by a certain time. So no, it is not too late. Oh, Amanda said, if you said anything about what I posted, I missed it. I'm trying to keep a friend from killing herself. Oh my gosh. And that is more important than my man right now. But if you remember or go back to see what I said, I'd appreciate it. It doesn't show me after I backed out of live video. I'm driving. Okay, so first of all, if you're driving, you should not be on Facebook Live. Okay, so Amanda, that's a really, really, really extremely important issue. So when I get off of here, I'm going to scroll back immediately and see if I can find what it was that you said. But there is a national suicide prevention hotline that I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I'm going to put that in. I don't know, Andrea, if you're here, if anybody from YourTango can drop that in right now into the comments, but I'm going to drop that in and pin it afterwards. And I'm going to send you a private message with the suicide hotline, because that's not something that it's not up to you to be the one to solve that for your friend. And I also know that you want to do everything you can for your friend right now. So you need professionals helping you through that right now. Okay. Adrian said, I'm a lesbian, almost 30, and I've been single for years. I'm also in love with my best friend. I've dated other women, but I always seem to look for her in them. I'm just tired of being alone and seeing everyone around me happy. Well, and Adrian, I don't know if your best friend, first of all, I don't know if your best friend, oh yeah, you said she's a female, but I don't know if she's also a lesbian and it just hasn't worked between the two of you, or if she's bi and it just hasn't worked, or if she's straight. But, I'm sure most people on here can empathize with the time when they were in love with somebody who didn't return it, you know, who had an unrequited love. And, you know, I know it's a really hard thing, and it's an awful thing, and it's sad, but, and it's hard when you're not in a relationship and you really, really want to be, to try and just be okay with that. But there's not really much else that you can do other than, you know, like I would wonder, are you looking for her in them, or is she a type that you like in general? Like before you met her, were you also looking for her? You know, and if so, then you can maybe separate that out. Maybe that'll help you. And maybe you need to spend a little less time with her for a little while. You know, maybe it's just too hard. I mean, that certainly happens between male and female friends who, you know, one person has feelings and the other one doesn't. Sometimes you just can't hang out as much because it's too painful, you know? So maybe you need to take some time apart. And I know that that would suck because losing friends can sometimes be harder than a breakup, you know, with a romantic love. But you need to do what you can do so you can be happy. And if you need to be away from her for a little bit to be happy, then that might be a good thing. And then you guys can hang out again when you're feeling a little bit stronger. Okay, I'm really going to see if I can find one more before I head out. And I'm trying to find one that, because there's so many great comments to each other, but I'm going to try to find one that is a question. Lori said, I had a three-way and the guy the second day was yelling and telling me and trying to tell me what, how, and where I'd be. Crazy. I'm sorry, it sounds like it didn't work out. I know a lot of people who've tried threesomes and didn't go the way that they thought it would go because it's too hard to get people to not feel like they're not being paid attention to in the way that they would want to. So, you know, maybe at least it'll help you to know that that happens a lot. I think that, I mean, I've heard from guys who've had threesomes with two women that can be like a major pain in the ass, to be frank, because like trying to keep two women feeling like they're being paid enough attention to can be, I guess, really difficult. So, you know, that's just the way it works out for some people sometimes. All right. Oh, one other person, Nancy, said you have to be careful with dating sites. They're loaded with scammers. Everyone just talked about that. I've talked to, ends up asking for money or iTunes cards. I have never been asked for money or an iTunes card on any dating site. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Doesn't mean that that won't happen immediately after I close this. Yeah, I mean, of course you have to be careful, but you have to be careful if you meet somebody in real life, right? Like, just because you meet somebody in a bar doesn't mean that they're safe. I mean, how many women thought Ted Bundy was safe, right? They weren't meeting him on a dating site. So, yeah, you gotta be smart and use your head. Like, my mom's from the Bronx, and so I grew up, like, with my mom always being like, street smart girl from the Bronx, don't do that. And street smart girls from the Bronx, don't do that. And, you know, like, anytime we watched a movie or a TV show where some, you know, chick was going off into a car with some guy that she never knew, my mom would be like, no street smart girl from the Bronx would do that. And so, yeah, like, you just, you know, I told everybody the Google Images trick on here a week or two ago, where you can do like a screenshot of anybody's picture from an app, and then you can try to go to Google Images and click on the little camera icon, upload their picture, and then potentially, you know, just, I don't do like the kind of Google, Facebook stalking. Like, I don't want to know about somebody's whole life before I go out with them the first time. I just want to confirm, like, yes, they live where they say they live, they have the job they say they have, not that it's a good job or a bad job or whatever, just it's what they said it was, and that they're representing themselves and they're a real person. Because using that Google Images method, I did find people who were using fake pictures, and I found somebody who was married, and, you know, so you can kind of cut some of that kind of stuff from happening. I don't know that that's going to help you not be asked for iTunes cards, because I don't know how that happens, but at least it'll help you not be scammed. So it has been at least an hour, if not more. Yeah. So I'm going to call it a night, but thank you guys for being here and being so active and asking so many questions. And I will, like always, scroll back throughout the week and see any questions I missed, and if I can answer one next week if you guys come back, or Amanda, I'm going to make sure that I get back to you right away with that suicide hotline number. So come back next week. I'm here every Sunday, and if you think of a name for my show, let me know, because I don't know what to call it. I write headlines all day, but I cannot name things that involve me. It's weird, but I can't do it well. Okay, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome, and I will see you next week. Bye.